Do you know the game Pac-Man? It's an old arcade game where a small yellow Pac-Man tries to win by eating as many little dots as it can. This week we're learning about African imperialism, which is surprisingly similar to a game of Pac-Man. But instead of a little yellow Pac-Man trying to eat the most dots, African imperialism was a competition between European countries trying to control the most land in Africa. To them, the race to control Africa was a competition. Whoever won the most land was the best country. From 1880 to 1914, European countries like France, Germany, Great Britain, and Italy gained control of 90% of Africa. They competed against each other, trying to conquer the most land and control the most natural resources, sort of like Pac-Man. In 1884, European powers met together in Berlin at an event known as the Berlin Conference. At the conference, European nations, led by German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck, created rules for the partition or division of Africa. At the Berlin Conference, European powers agreed to split up Africa between them, cutting it up like a cake. Lines were drawn, divisions were made, and by the end of the conference, the African continent had been split into pieces and divided among the imperial powers of Europe. Italy, France, Portugal, Germany, Spain, and Great Britain all controlled sizable chunks of land, and only 10% of Africa was still controlled by actual Africans. These two countries were Liberia and Ethiopia. There were two reasons that Europeans were able to conquer more of Africa during this time period. The first one was a natural ingredient called quinine. Quinine allowed Europeans to protect themselves against malaria, which was a disease prominent in West Africa. The second invention was the steamboat, which allowed Europeans to move further inland on rivers without using wind power or water currents to propel them. The Suez Canal was a passageway for boats dug through land near Egypt. The Suez Canal was important because it allowed Europeans to sail to Asia without sailing around Africa. It was controlled by the British, who then took over Egypt as one of their colonies.